For the past 3 days, I had a tour across Georgia visiting the most interesting places to bring you this camera comparison between 3 of the well-known cameras in the market. I have here the Pixel 3 XL, the Camera King, Samsung's latest flagship, the Galaxy S10 Plus, and the Canon 200D, to show you how each camera handled the day and night photos and videos. But before getting started, let's make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified every time I post a new video. I will start with a video comparison that will take place in the National Botanical Garden of Tibilisi, so let's check out how each camera performed. So here a video comparison between the Pixel 3 XL, the Galaxy S10 Plus, and the Canon 200D. I'm not using any special hardware or software on any of the devices. I'm using my hands to hold all of them to give you an idea how each camera stabilizes the image. Also, I am testing the mic. I will keep swapping between all of them, and you will be able to judge which camera is recording my voice better. It's a pretty quiet place, so there is not a lot of noise here. So that's pretty much it. The Pixel was the best in stabilization only. The Samsung was better than the two cameras in HDR, colors, details, and microphone. And the Canon was the worst in all of these. So if you are into video recording, the S10 Plus will be the best choice here. So let's move on to the front camera. And here is another video comparison between the Pixel and the Galaxy S10 Plus only, because the Canon has one lens anyways, so there is no much difference. So here I'm testing the dynamic range, the mic, and also the stabilization. Keep in mind that the S10 Plus record videos in 4K, which is not in the Pixel. The Pixel only record with the front camera in 1080p. Again, the S10 Plus produced better video than the Pixel with better resolution, colors, and dynamic range, except the mic sound had an issue that only appeared while recording using the front camera. So please let me know in the comments if you came across the same issue. So let's move on to the photo comparison. All cameras are set to auto mode and the weather is very sunny, which is good for testing dynamic range. So in this image, the Pixel 3 XL and the S10 Plus did a very decent job with the HDR. While the Canon completely blown out the image, also the colors on the S10 Plus are the most vibrant, while the Pixel image looks slightly underexposed compared to the other two cameras. So I will give the win for the S10 Plus for producing the best overall image, followed by the Pixel, and the Canon comes third. Here is another image. Same HDR results of the previous one, but what's different here are the colors. The Samsung oversaturated the image to a point where it looks totally unrealistic, which is I don't like. The Canon, besides its poor HDR, the colors and the exposure are okay. The Pixel 3 XL nailed all aspects in this comparison, producing the best overall image with very good detail, natural colors, and good HDR. But what about the details of the images coming out of each camera? This image captured from the same exact position, so let's zoom in to be able to spot the difference. Let's start with the Canon. It's definitely the most detailed due to its bigger 24 megapixel sensor, which is double the megapixels of the other two cameras. But the two other cameras tried their own software to enhance the image details. The S10 Plus over-sharpened the image, which led to loss of details and artifacts, while the Pixel 3 XL was a lot smarter than the S10 by keeping the natural look of the image and improved the details at the same time. So when it comes to details, the Canon comes first, followed by the Pixel, and the S10 Plus comes third. After finishing my comparison in the National Botanical Garden, I moved to a different place called Ananuri. It's a castle complex surrounded by amazing nature about 72 kilometers away from Tibilisi. This comparison took place after 4 p.m, so it's good to know how each camera performs in different lighting conditions. This is the first image in Ananuri. All of them produced a very good image with slight differences. The Pixel colors are cooler than the other two cameras, which I like the most because the sky looks better. All cameras produced a very detailed image. The HDR also improved on the Canon a little in less aggressive sunlight. So I think the Pixel and the S10 Plus produced the best overall image beside the different colors reproduction, and the Canon comes next. In this image, the HDR of the S10 Plus was the best, followed by the Pixel, and the Canon comes last. Same colors reproduction of the previous image, but when it comes to details, the Pixel was the best. If you zoomed in, you will see how detailed is the Pixel image compared to the other two. So again, the Pixel and the S10 Plus produced the best image, and each one had its own strength, while the Canon comes last. So now let's move on to the portraits, and I will take you to another place called Meskheta. It's one of the oldest cities of Georgia, about 20 kilometers away from Tibilisi. Unfortunately, the Canon will not be included in this comparison because I don't have the lens required for taking portraits. So let's get started. Here's the first portrait image. You will immediately notice how bigger the field of view on the S10 Plus. However, it doesn't have to be better, as I like more the slightly cropped portraits of the Pixel, as it gives more focus on the subject. But it depends on your personal preference. For the subject isolation, I think the S10 Plus did better. The Pixel blurred part of my ears with the background while the S10 Plus didn't. But the Pixel was better in the details, so if you look at my beard, you will notice the difference. Also, the S10 Plus softened my skin, giving it this artificial look, and I couldn't find any beauty mode active to turn it off, as it happens automatically. When it comes to colors, the Pixel is the more realistic while the S10 Plus saturated the colors, so it depends on your personal taste, but sometimes the oversaturation of the S10 Plus ruin the image, so you need to be aware of that. So each camera had its own strength, but I lean more towards the Pixel image as it's more detailed and realistic. Here's another portrait, and this time the Pixel isolated better. It only missed a small part of the wire, while the S10 Plus didn't blur a big part of it. And also the S10 Plus blurred the part of the dog's head where the Pixel didn't. So the results are not consistent. And again, the details of the Pixel image are more. And finally, the zoom. It will take place in Zhinvali Reservoir. It's an artificial water reservoir located on the river Aragvi in Georgia. In this comparison, I will set the zoom to 3x on all cameras, so let's check out how they are compared to each other. Here is the first image. From the same location, I fired up the zoom to 3x on all cameras, and the results were interesting. While the Canon only uses optical zoom, but its image was the least detailed and washed out. So that will leave us with the Pixel and the S10 Plus. If you look closely, you will see more details on the Pixel image than the S10 Plus, despite it only uses digital zoom. So Google nailed it with the super res zoom. However, the S10 Plus saturated colors worked in the favor of this image and enhanced the overall look of it. So I will call this one a draw between the Pixel and the S10 Plus, and the Canon comes next. Let's check another image. Here the Canon produced pretty much same results. The S10 Plus this time is more detailed than the Pixel image with vibrant colors, so overall the S10 Plus image looks the best. So I'm done with my comparison. Let's summarize the whole thing. If I'm gonna pick a camera, I will exclude the Canon, as it didn't impress me in any category. So that will leave me with the S10 Plus and the Pixel 3 XL, and it's a hard choice. For videos, definitely the S10 Plus is the best here, for few reasons. First, it records 4K 60 frames per second. It produces more detailed videos and has an amazing HDR. For still images, there are a lot to compare here. For the colors, it's a little subjective. However, I like more the natural colors of the Pixel, as sometimes the saturation of the S10 Plus has a negative effect on the image. For the details, I will also go for the Pixel, while the Canon has the biggest amount of megapixels, but I'm not sure why most of the images were washed out. And the S10 Plus over-sharpened the image and gives it an artificial look. For the HDR, the S10 Plus was the king, and the Pixel is slightly behind while the Canon performance was poor. For still images, I will go for the Pixel due to its natural colors and the details. However, I still might prefer the S10 Plus as it gives me more lenses to play around with, like the wide angle and telephoto. Also, the HDR is a killer. For portraits, the Pixel 3 XL was more detailed, natural skin tone and colors, but inconsistent isolation and a smaller field of view. The S10 Plus was the opposite in everything, with less details, artificial skin tone, saturated colors, and also inconsistent isolation. But it had a bigger field of view. So for me, the Pixel was better as I can trade off the bigger field of view to get a better image. For the zoom, both the Pixel and the S10 Plus were detailed, but the S10 Plus had a slight edge over the Pixel when it comes to details and colors. So the Pixel 3 XL and the S10 Plus won't disappoint you. Both have amazing cameras in their own ways. So stay tuned for another camera comparison between the same three cameras but at night, and that might change the whole thing. So thank you for watching, and if you like my video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more videos.